Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Edmund, your host for the next few hours, along with Nick.
Hi.
Good morning. And Gali's here.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. And Spence is still away, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Yeah, no, I thought he said he was coming back, but I can't remember when. He may be back and sleeping. Anyway, our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. And it's a beautiful day outside. Boy, I went outside this morning and it's sunny, it's crispy, it's clean air. And here we are sitting inside, right?
I'm outside. I've got my outdoor green screen to make it look like I'm sitting in my office. Yeah.
Anywho, so what's happening?
Nothing's happening.
Wait. What's that?
I have got a dud. My first generation Amazon device is dead.
They did? I mean, it won't even come on?
No, not dead. Stuck in a boot loop dead. Now I will give so I was having a problem with this thing a couple of weeks ago. It just wasn't responding very well. So I unplugged it and plugged it back in.
Mm-hmm.
And you plug it in and the top ring just spins like it does when it's booting.
Right.
Except it spins indefinitely. Now reading online, it looks like that could be an issue with the power supply potentially. Some folks were mentioning that, but for a 5-year-old device, I'm not buying a second power supply. That's stupid. So I contacted Amazon support and they gave me a couple of different things to try, including, holding down the reset button, which is a little pinhole.
Yeah.
Little pinhole at the bottom there. You probably can't see.
No, I can't see it. Yeah.
No things, no difference, same result. And then they had a different idea to try. They said, okay, well, there's a different sort of reset as well. So unplug the device, hold down the reset button, plug it in, and also hold down the microphone mute button at the same time. Now, I'll just tell you, I have two hands. So holding down the reset button, which I used a paperclip and pushed it against my chest, and then held down this and then plugged it in at the same time. It took a time to do it. And they said, leave it for 5 hours. They said if you had happened to have rebooted the device while it was doing a software update, that's why it could have bricked. So I guess after 5 hours or I think they just use that as their baseline number for, okay, if it doesn't do something after 5 hours, it's kaput. Same result, same thing. So did you know that Amazon has a trade-in program?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
I didn't either. So I contacted their support the second time after it sat one whole night and it just spun and spun and spun. So they offer a trade-in program for Amazon devices, both working and non-working devices. So while I don't remember how much I paid for this thing, and again, it was years ago when I bought it, with this, you get with a proper trade in which I have to go to the UPS store and they gave me a
Return
return
label.
label just like everything else. So I'm going to go over to the UPS store and drop this off, and I'm going to get 25% off another Echo device and a $5 Amazon gift card.
That's it?
This device is dead, Amnon.
Yeah,
and
I know,
it's
I
5 years
understand.
old.
Yeah, well.
So I was expecting nothing, to be perfectly honest. So 25% off a new device and a $5 Amazon gift card, plus they're paying shipping to get a dead device back. Seems not bad. Now, if this thing had worked, you'd get $30. They'll give you a $30 Amazon gift card for it. But I was rather impressed that they have a trade-in program. I mean, the first generation Echo is at least 5 years old, if not older. There's obviously no warranty still with it. And the fact that they'll give you 25% off and $5, which doesn't sound like a lot, but they're paying for return. These things are heavy as hell.
Yeah,
so
I guess,
for them to pay return shipping on this.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But let me ask you this question. You have Echo Dots. Isn't it the same as the same power supply?
No.
Are you sure? I think it is.
Actually, it is.
Yeah,
hold on.
You may want to try it sometime and see. Because, damn, now, that's what we have. We have that old one, the first.
Yeah, I have the first generation as well.
Yeah. It's,
I'm trying to think if I think I'll be happy when it'll die and I won't replace it.
Die!
If I will replace it, I'll replace it with a Dot. I have good speakers around and I don't need that.
It's the same. It looks the same, but it's not, the pin is not the same size.
Oh, okay.
I think.
I thought it was the same because I think.
No, I don't think so. Because the one for this big one is a 24-watt power supply. I mean, it's freaking huge.
Oh, okay.
It might be.
Never mind.
Maybe I'm just missing it.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah. So it's a rather interesting process. They don't make that device anymore. They don't. The one they make now is the they call it the Echo 4. Well, they make a whole bunch of different things now, but the one I'm looking at is the Echo 4th Gen, which I actually might. Well,
is that the ball?
Yeah. Well, it's a ball, and it's on a super deep discount right now. It's only $27, so I might not even wait for this 25% off its discount. I might just buy it, because that's a really damn good price. So,
$27. Yeah, I mean, Gal, you were saying that you have good speakers and all that. We have a Dot that I was using outside on the patio, and the speakers did go kind of bad. I mean, and they tell you if you leave it outside and it's humid and this and it's dry and humid and dry, it will deteriorate, and it sure did. It doesn't sound good anymore, but I sure wish that there was a plug to plug in a speaker into it.
There is.
The Dot? You do have.
You do?
Yeah.
It's got I think it's got a line. Is it a line out or a line in?
No. The Dot has a line out.
Okay, well, I may try that.
Second and third generation had.
Right? The big one doesn't have, I don't think.
That's not a Dot.
The big one doesn't
have.
No,
yeah, no.
But the small one are by design supposed to be hooked up to a different speaker because, yes, we don't give you the speaker with the like advanced quality of sound, but you get a line out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that may save that. Interesting. So Nick is just going to order it.
The more to that, the Dot, its Bluetooth is outgoing only, while the Echo has Bluetooth for incoming only audio. So the Echo is the speaker, while the Dot is it can rely on another speaker.
Okay. Well, I wasn't aware of that. That's interesting. Yep.
What's in the news?
Huh?
What's on the news?
What's on the news?
Yeah.
I don't know if you call it news. Do you want to talk about that Insteon?
Insteon. I mean, there's not much talking about it, but yeah, let's mention it. Insteon, smart home not appliance, a smart home device company. Um, they made switches and lights and stuff like that, and they had their own hub, and they went bust this week, I think. At least this week, the uproar
Yeah.
started, and everybody that has their any of their product basically cannot control them anymore. There's no open source solution. They didn't provide any way to reflash the devices to something else. So it's just they went dead and their devices went dead, which is probably the main reason why neither of us three here rely too heavily on devices that are controlled from outside our home.
Mm-hmm.
Try not to.
That is probably the lesson from this. By the way, people, this will include like stuff that is supported by Amazon or Google or whatever, right? These companies, they're huge, that's true. But if for some reason these devices will stop bringing an incoming stream of revenue, they might shut down whatever service is around these devices eventually. Insteon specifically is a company that started selling stuff, I think, in 2017. And yeah, and now we're at 2022. Their website says that they've been in financial strife at the beginning of 2019. They I don't even remember what they did. They probably got more investment or something and continued on. And then in 2021, pandemic hit. After a year of working in pandemic mode, they were struggling again. Tried something else. I think a merger or somebody bought them, but that didn't pan out, and so that's what they have on their website. Too bad. I remember seeing their products for sale. I don't buy anything that's Wi-Fi based because it always requires a server outside. And this time it was a good choice on my end. There are Wi-Fi based solutions out there that allow you out of the box either to flash a different OS. There are open source device OSs out there, or out of the box, it allows you local IP control. You usually point a web browser after you join to the network. Joining to the network is always tough, but their apps are working like that, that will either need the server outside for communication, or they are just doing a local communication point to point with your phone and the device. Insteon doesn't have that, so now a lot of people are pissed. Anybody who bought a device, doesn't matter if they bought it for $10, $20, $40, they're pissed.
Yeah, I mean, I had the can't remember even the name of
Hook.
it. The first hub.
You had the hook.
The hook, yeah.
Yeah.
And the same story, kind of.
Yeah.
So, so
The
by
hook wasn't Wi-Fi based. It was its own RF based, right?
it would control the devices through RF, but it was Wi-Fi to the network.
Well, the hub and the app would be, you would control the app over IP,
Yeah. Wait,
but yeah,
I don't
there was
remember.
a hub. As far as I
Yeah.
remember, in your system, there was a hub that controlled everything.
Yeah.
The control of the hub was an application that connected to a cloud server, and the hub was connected to that same cloud server. So the moment they died, the control died.
Yep. So to make things kind of clear for the audience, so when we're going with Z-Wave or Zigbee or that stuff in Home Assistant, eh, we're not relying on an outside uh, server to do it. I mean,
Right.
there's nobody that's
No
going to.
communication is going outside to communicate, control, or anything.
Right.
Everything is directly to home, including when you're outside of your home. It does require some elaborate setup, right? Like there's an additional elaborate. It's not that elaborate, but there are additional steps in order to make, for example, the reason most of these companies they choose to run their own services is not so much so they can control you.
It's
It
to make it
is
easier.
for two reasons. For two reasons. One is they get analytics this way, and
Oh yeah.
by collecting analytics, they know they can learn what type of devices or how to modify the devices to make them more suitable to their user base. So that's number one. Number two, it makes setup very, very easy, because one of the things that you need if you want to control your device from outside of home is you'll need to, one, pierce a hole in your firewall, right? Specifically. And two, you'll need to set up some sort of IP tracking on your IP when it's changing. So you'll need dynamic DNS to be set up.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes number three is you'll need to actually set up a DNS name and a TLS certificate. So setting all of that today is super simple compared to, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. Most of it is really automated, and all you need to do is just punch in the details in the right place, and everything else takes care of itself. But it's still a few technical steps that, in order to simplify this process, these companies who sell Wi-Fi based solutions, they just say, "Hey, use our hub." But when they do that and they don't offer an alternative, that's when you
Yeah.
hit trouble.
All right. So I mean, you took the you gave the long answer. Let me ask this way. Let's say it's all right now.
Mhm.
You are not leaving your house. You don't care much about notifications, which use the internet.
Yeah.
You disconnect your Home Assistant from the internet.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Everything
If
continues.
my router, if my router loses internet connection,
Mhm.
right, everything will continue to work.
Well, that's the main thing.
If my Home Assistant will lose network connection, right, like just the Home Assistant, let's
Right.
say only that line drops, then everything that is not IP based is still going to be controlled. That includes Z-Wave and Zigbee
By the hub.
by the hub. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of other stuff that is IP based, that is internal, right, and is controlled by Home Assistant. Most of it is computers and a TV or something, so stuff like that.
The difference in the hub is you can get different hubs to control the same device as long as it is supporting that
With
protocol.
right, because
So
Z-Wave and Zigbee are generic
right.
protocols.
So
Yeah.
if the zoos that Nick and
Yeah,
I
if
and
that USB dies or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
you get another one. From even if
that's
they
true.
go out of business, you get a different one that supports those protocol. Which with the other ones like the Insteon and the Hook and these were proprietary.
Proprietary.
Nobody else had it. I mean, if they're out, that's it. You're out. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's. I guess that's something that people learned from experience and said, "Nah, we need something better."
That's how they get you, right?
The
It's
the
they
I
usually
go ahead.
it's usually because the devices are cheap,
Yeah.
right? And
Well,
and
that was $50 for the Hook, but the reason why I had to have that is because back then I had the wall sockets or those adapters that you stick to the wall that were RF. They were
right.
not Wi-Fi. They were RF. So I was
No, it
looking.
was a completely different time. I know.
Yeah. So I needed a hub that will talk to them in their native language, and there was nothing
Right.
else that I remember. That was the only thing that would do it. They say, "Yep, that would work."
Look, there are still homes working with. I think it was called X10,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Extend.
Those are wired solutions in the walls and all
Yeah,
that. You'll still need a hub if you wanted to control it over IP.
right.
But again, usually the communication would be internal. It won't be
Not only
relying. Yeah,
not
go
only
ahead.
would you use a hub, I watched a video a couple months ago from LGR on YouTube, and he used I think I think it was a DOS application, an X10 DOS application to
Wow.
do the controlling, which was super
Could
neat
be.
to see. Slotted it into the computer, and then it actually it looked like the X10 controller, but it had a serial port that connected to the computer, and then you could control it via that.
I'm pretty sure anything X10, for example, right, was still a good investment. Sorry, I forgot how to speak. Um, because you can control stuff like that through open source solution like HomeAssistant. You'll find a community that makes it work, and if the community doesn't make it work, you can make it work because the protocol was public, was something you have control over.
Yep. All right. Netflix had a little setback this past week. Netflix said inflation, the war in Ukraine, and fierce competition contributed to a loss of subscribers for the first time in more than a decade and predicted more contraction ahead, marking an abrupt shift in fortune for a streaming company that thrived during the pandemic. Netflix 26 Netflix 26% tumble after the bill on Tuesday erased about $40 billion of its stock market value. Since it warned in January of weak subscriber growth, the company has lost nearly half of its value. The lagging subscriber growth prompted Netflix for a first time to say it might offer lower priced version of the service with advertising. In addition to advertising supported plans, the company is also looking to generate additional revenue from customers who share their account with friends or family outside their home. So they're trying to to uh, to make up some of this loss, but half its
Yeah, but
value. Geez.
Yeah.
well, there's a couple of things about this. First of all, it is absolutely phenomenal the fact that Netflix went, was it 11 years, I think, quarter over quarter over quarter, never having a quarter with a
Right.
loss in subscribers. That
Yeah.
in itself is remarkable.
Absolutely.
This was only a a matter of time before this happened. I mean, you can't grow
sustain it,
subscribers forever. You have a limited pool. I don't think password sharing is their biggest issue. I think their biggest issue is everybody and their brother now has a streaming service, minus CNN, who spent $300 million and closed down their service after 30 days. But everybody else does. Disney's got it. Hulu's got it. Amazon's got it. We joked years ago, and I think, but this is before Gal was even on the show. And now we used to joke about how once you got all of these streaming services, you cut the cord because you didn't want to spend $100 a month on cable, and you ended up spending $300 a month on streaming services.
Right.
And that is precisely where we are.
Yep.
That's what's killing Netflix, is people are trying to ration off what is worth paying for, because I don't want to spend $150 a month on streaming platforms. And they're choosing Netflix because, just from my vantage point, the Netflix exclusives right now, their shows, I don't think they don't have their big blockbuster. The Stranger Things will come back. House of Cards is over with. Orange is the New Black is over with. So people are just probably, and it's expensive. It's like, what, $19 a freaking month? I mean, it's an expensive damn streaming service.
Yeah, and it's nothing that makes it. I mean, to cut the cord and leave cable, you lose some stuff, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you learn to live with it. Say, okay, it's not that important. So it's the same thing with Netflix. I mean, now you're getting this service and this service, and you said, okay, but they don't have that, Orange is the New Black. Okay, I can live without it.
Or you can borrow somebody's Netflix password to watch the show.
True.
Which is what a lot of people do. But they're not going to be able to crack down on this like they think they're going to. I mean, they can try, but they're just going to end up creating a nightmare for their own customer base.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure,
But they've already got that. I mean, they technically already have that, because I think it's on the base plan. You can only stream 2 things at a time per account. So it's not like you can give your password to 600 people,
right,
and they can all stream. So intrinsically, it is already limited on what you can do. You can only have so many simultaneous streams going at the same time. So I think they've done the best they can with that. They're struggling with what everybody else is struggling with.
Well, it's like everything else. You struggle. We'll see what happens there. It's going to be interesting. I mean, this is it's not a small player. It's a big player losing like this. What's going to happen to the little players?
Here's the thing, though. I don't think they're losing.
Oh, look,
they're not losing. They are making a bit less.
Okay.
No, let's be clear.
They're not losing.
I mean, when you lose 50%, 40% of your value, that's losing any way you look at it.
Well,
no.
So here's the thing:
Netflix didn't lose anything.
Maybe
at their stockholder.
Yeah,
looking at their stock at a snapshot is not a good representation of the company. The reason the stock dropped is because they missed expectations on a quarter. That's it.
Oh. Okay.
So correct. If you had invested all of your money into Netflix and were trying to cash it out right now, you are correct. You would have lost half of your value. But the stock is not going to continue to I don't think it will continue to crater. It might. I don't think it will, unlike Twitter. So they should be fine, but they're going to have to figure out how to compete, or they're going to have to start buying some of these other services. That's going to be Netflix's goal. I don't know if you agree with me on that, Gal, but start purchasing some of these they've got the capital to purchase some of these smaller services, buy these smaller services, engulf them into Netflix, and build your competition is what's killing them, which is good. You want competition as the consumer, but
define smaller services.
You find Fumo or whatever that is called, and Pluto. I mean, they could buy these companies if they wanted to.
I don't think they're of interest to them.
They might not be, but I think that's what's killing them. When you can go and buy a smart TV from Amazon, from from Walmart or Best Buy or any store, and it's got a button on the remote that says live TV, and you click on that, and it pulls up a channel guide of a whole bunch of free streaming channels. That's really tough. That's a really tough buy for Netflix, because there's hundreds of these channels. Now, it's not what I want to watch. Let me be clear, but obviously people are using them because they're highly marketed.
Yeah, I don't think so. That button, that is a direct competition of live TV. Okay.
True.
That is not, it's not biting on the Netflix market at all, in my opinion. The competition from Netflix is, as you said, they used to be the only show in town. And far behind on second place was Amazon Prime, which nobody understood why Amazon was doing what they're doing back then, right? Like, they're already selling you the Prime subscription. Why are they pushing in music? Why are they pushing in video? Like, what's but what Amazon saw is what all of the rest came on, right? Probably only in the last couple of years. And that's the Disney Pluses and the HBO Maxes and and then you have some others that might not be as successful as the top tier one. But I don't think Netflix is in any position to make a move on these. So the competition here is different. And yes, and not only that, it seems like Apple and Disney Plus and HBO Max, they have narrowed the gap between them and where Netflix is at. So if you're getting a year free of Disney Plus, or if you're getting a year free of HBO Max at this point, that might bite into the Netflix thing. Now, they quoted the war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
I don't know if they quoted it because they had planned to expand in the Russian and Ukraine market, or just because people are just consuming less content at this point and focusing more on. But either way,
I think I have an answer to
actually
that.
doubt it has. It sounds like unrelated to their.
I think I have.
Growth.
I think I have an explanation to that. From what I heard, and I don't know if it's what you're describing, they shut down their Russian service. So they lost about 700,000 subscribers shutting down their Russian service temporarily. So I think that that factored into their overall loss, because they essentially pulled the plug on, 750,000 subscribers.
Right. So, I mean, that is probably right. The big major thing, and everything else is just packed into that package.
Correct.
But that's a substantial one. So let's put it this way: it's definitely not the pandemic that did them any harm, because that just glued people to the TV, right? They continued creating content, probably not as well as they did before, but they continue doing that. So, I mean, their whole animation offering just went up, probably because of the pandemic. That was the main project. Those were the main projects that didn't stop, because it's a lot less on people being together to work on it, and they can work remotely. So, well, I'm not sorry in any way. We're gonna see them continue shooting upwards. It's a setback, yes. I don't think they are losing anything. They have just made a bit less. Some of our stockholders are probably, they're worried, but I don't think on the long run there's anything to be worried about. Business, come on. The world is keeps on turning.
And again, it was only a matter of time. I will stand by that. Only a matter of
Yeah.
time before they lost subscribers. You can't build.
Yeah.
You can't. There's only so many people in the world that are going to buy your service.
Okay.
Right, and that can't be the only metric that matters, right?
Well, that's where the money is coming from.
Well, one thing I read, I think it was a rumor. I don't think it was established, but it was like there might be ads coming into their service.
Yeah, I read that. They're
That is
going to bring in a
piss
low
off
cost.
a lot of people.
I
What's
think
that?
their plan, and it makes sense because Hulu's, I think, done it really well. Is Hulu's got a very inexpensive service, like $5 a month, $4 or $5 a month. It's got ads, and when you're talking about $4 or $5 a month with 30-second ads versus $19 a month, I mean, you're talking about a huge difference. It might not sound like it, but if you could have 4 streaming services at that Hulu price for Netflix. And I think people would much rather have 4 different services than one Netflix subscription. So I think that's what they need to do. And I'm surprised it's taken this long for them to come up with an ad-supported model. They won't have a problem selling ads.
Yeah,
They shouldn't, at least.
I think they're gonna see a lot of users drop when they do sell ads. So,
Well, I think I don't think so, because if you want to pay $19 a month, there won't be ads. If you want to pay $4 a month, there will be ads.
that's the
and
question.
I think
If it's gonna be 19 or gonna, double to 40, and you'll get the 19 with the ads. We're talking about Netflix here. They haven't done any good decision on the pricing in a long time.
that's true. Here's the thing, though. They're not going to have it. They have to, because now the shareholders are going to be pissed. Excuse me, not going to be pissed. They are pissed.
Well, here's first of all, Alan is saying, what's the point of Prime when anything you want to watch costs extra?
You want to watch the wrong things, Alan.
Well,
Prime is there for some of the content. It covers some of the content. Some of the content is actually real good. So whether it's to your liking or not, that is a completely different thing. But they do produce some nice stuff, and I can personally recommend Reacher. Reacher was fantastic, a real fun show. If you want to see a huge guy beat up people senselessly, it was great. It's but if it's not your cup of tea, then yeah, then you do have the options of watching something and paying for that, which I also think is valid, right? It's just a very old model, and that model is fading away.
well, another take on that Netflix from another article. It says Netflix shares lost over a third of their value on Wednesday after the company reported its first drop in subscribers in a decade, leaving Wall Street questioning its growth in the face of fierce competition and post-pandemic viewer fatigue. The streaming pioneer shares fell 37% and were headed for their worst day in nearly 18 years if the losses hold. More than a dozen analysts rushed to temper their views on a stock that has been a red-hot market performer in the past few years. Netflix is a poster child for what happens to growth companies when they lose their growth. This is coming from Kim Forrest, Chief Investment Officer at Bokeh Capital Partners. Elon Musk weighed in on Netflix subscriber loss by responding to a Slashdot tweet saying, "The woke mind virus is making the streaming platform." Hold a second. Sorry. Is making the streaming platform unwatchable He added, "Can they please just make sci-fi/fantasy at least mostly sci-fi/fantasy?" So Elon Musk is keeping himself in the news lately. I mean, pretty good. I mean,
Well,
that's his. Go ahead.
you're talking about. Did you guys talk about Twitter last week?
Yeah.
Well, he tweeted out this morning, like 3 hours ago. I think I'm done. ... or something like that. So,
You mean he's done with Twitter?
well, that's the $1 million question. We don't know.
Oh.
We're not sure.
Yeah,
He's a troll. So,
we'll wait and see what that brings. So there's a company that wants to finance buyout. Not for him, obviously he doesn't need them, but
no, I think he does. He absolutely needs them. He can't liquidate.
No.
He can't liquidate to buy it.
Oh.
I don't think he can.
Okay. I don't know. I don't follow.
He would if he had to liquidate to buy Twitter. I think he'd lose control of his companies. He'd have to sell too much share.
All right. You talking about CNN?
Oh, what an unmitigated freaking disaster!
On March 29th, it says that the new parent company Warner Brothers Discovery decided to pull the plug on the streaming service after a slow first month. I mean, give me a break. I guess
they invested upwards of
bunch.
$300+ million into this service. They grabbed all of this talent, Chris Wallace, people from MSNBC, tried to make this into some big whatever. And I don't know exactly what was I don't know exactly what the thought was or what was going on here, but it turned out to be an unmitigated disaster.
Yeah.
What content were they thinking of
news
offering?
Not that precisely, Gal. That's exactly the thing. It was the same crap that you'd see on CNN behind a paywall with different hosts. I mean, it was nothing unique.
Yeah, but people watch CNN because of the live aspect of it, right? Of I'm reporting on something that is current.
These shows were live. They had live programming. But it was the same kind of live. That's what was so odd.
3 or something like that, like a premium news source. I see.
I think a little bit, and they had some different unique shows with some different hosts. But like they'd have a show with Chris Wallace at 7:00 every weeknight. So it's like, okay, so it's instead of Anderson, I think Anderson Cooper's on at 7:00 on CNN. So instead of watching Anderson Cooper, you watch Chris Wallace. It's the same news. It's the same crap.
Exactly.
It's just a different host. So it's like, for example, Fox Nation got their streaming platform. It's called Fox Nation. And they have a subscription that's a subscription service for them. The difference is they've got a whole bunch of really interesting shows on there. They've got long-term series, things that aren't even political. Alveda King's got a cooking show on there. There's just a lot of very interesting kind of longer form documentary style things, which makes sense for a streaming service. But why would you pay $10 a month to watch the same live crap that you can watch on CNN? It just doesn't make any sense.
If it was $10, you can understand why. It was $5.99, and they said
same difference. Why would you pay for it at all?
Yeah.
It's the same content. There was nothing unique except for a couple of the hosts. All of the shows were exactly the same.
It just shows that they didn't start with the right idea and the right way.
No, they they tried to buy into the hype of a streaming service.
Right. That's exactly.
And they didn't build it. They didn't backdoor it with anything useful.
Yeah, it says that they found difficulty convincing enough customers to pay the $5.99 monthly cost for a service which offers a mixture of live and on-demand programming, including a large library of old shows from hosts like the late Anthony Bourdain. So
It was their old HLN and some of their old HLN and old CNN content.
Yeah.
But Fox Nation has done a really good job, like with some of the stuff that they offer. They first of all, they bought out Cops, they bought out the old catalog of Cops, and they're producing new episodes of Cops, which is cool. The Dan Bongino radio show is on there for 3 hours a day. They've got Nancy Grace doing a show on there who I can't stand, but nevertheless. Tucker Carlson does an exclusive show to it. Piers Morgan has a show on there. They've just done a really good job making it kind of companion content. You have to give people a reason to watch it.
And they had a big audience before they started it to
Bingo.
Advertise it to and to tell them and all that, which CNN obviously does not, apparently.
Well, and that's another part of it, and I'm going to be talking about this Monday. I'm doing a full kind of rundown on it. CNN, and this is not a political statement, CNN has been hurting audience-wise for the past couple of years. They have been really, really hurt with the switch that has been going on as people disconnect from traditional media and start getting more of their news off of YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all these other platforms. CNN has really taken it on the chin. So you not only have a lapsing audience base, but now you're trying to feed them a service. It's the same reason that, and this is where I'll get political, it's the same reason that liberal talk radio doesn't work. There's not an appetite for it. When you can see that content that CNN Plus could offer on every other television network, you're not going to pay for it. And it's the same reason that outside of NPR, which is funded by the government, that you don't have liberal talk radio like you do conservative talk radio. There's just not a marketplace for it. So people don't, so it doesn't exist.
Oh, that's why
it's just very interesting that there's a lot of, I think there's some inconsistencies here.
Oh,
because I don't think you would start a service you're not going to start a service and not have a game plan at least 90 days out.
And why would you pull the plug after 1 month?
That's my point. Is if you're going to invest this, you have to have at least a 90 or a minimum of 90, probably 120 day kind of expectation and plan.
Oh.
Part of this, though, is what you mentioned earlier. Can you read the first line of your story again?
Yeah. I'll find it. No, hold it. All right, so no, that wasn't it. It says that the parent company, Warner Brothers Discovery, decided to
There you go.
They decided to.
Discovery already has their own streaming service as well. It's called Discovery Plus. So now with Jeff Zucker being out at CNN, Warner Brothers and Discovery also now being the old owners of it, why would they want a competing service? So maybe they roll something like this maybe they start a new streaming platform that's a mixture of Discovery Plus and some of what CNN Plus was going to be.
So again, bad planning. They didn't talk about it first.
Well, it's not bad planning. There was a shakeup. Jeff Zucker got ousted. He was running the helm. A new group came in and started doing some different things. But I don't know how you don't let this thing go at least 120 days, 90 days at the minimum before pulling the plug. It literally wasn't even a month before they announced
especially when they invested so much into it.
Well, and part of what I'm going to talk about tomorrow morning, and I don't think this is a conspiracy theory, but maybe this is a big write-off for CNN, a big loss write-off.
You mean it was planned?
I don't think it was planned, but maybe they saw how truly poorly it was doing, and they said, well, we can really buy ourselves, let's just write it off as a loss and call it a day. And they might be able to do that. Because again, I can't think of any circumstance in which 3 weeks into a streaming platform, you announce that it's canceled.
Yeah.
There's no logical explanation to that at all. I don't care how bad the numbers are. I mean, they said they had 10,000 people, which while that might sound like not a lot of people, a CNN cumulative average of watchers is like 150,000. So having a 10,000 people subscribe to your service is let's call it 10%.
Yeah.
That's not a bad number. But again, as you mentioned, Anna, you already have a small user base, or in this case, viewership. That's a problem.
Yep. Yeah. History. Anyway.
Yeah, well, you got a couple more days. And this is not, and there's just so much going on here. It's amazing.
You ready for special?
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah, I am. Give me a second here to get pulled up. All right. Well, we know that the cloud is a hot button conversation. So you've got many industries that are deciding to move their platform to the cloud, and you've got some bosses that are trying to get in on the action here. And it turns out you just throw the laptop out of the window, cloud grabs it, and there you go. Your data's in the cloud, fully backed up. All right, let's head on over to a couple of the special items here this morning. We'll start it off over at Costco, and I'll tell you what, if you're in an area that has Costco, you probably already have a subscription or a membership. But man, some of their technology deals are really stunning. Here's another one. This is over at Costco. It's a Lenovo IdeaPad 5. This is a 14-inch touchscreen laptop, which is running the new AMD Ryzen 5 5600U. Pretty impressive screen resolution, 2240 by 1400. Running Windows 11, backlit keyboard, 802.11 AC for the Wi-Fi brick on it, anti-glare screen, 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Right, it says 16.
16 gigabytes of RAM, a 512 gigabyte NVMe drive. I mean, this is a $1,000 laptop, and it is. It's normally $850 is that, but you can get it inside the club at $649. You can also buy it online, and they charge, I think, $10 for shipping. So you can get this device for $200 off. It's over at Costco. It's the Lenovo IdeaPad 5.
And the warranty is double.
Yeah, I don't.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
it's important. A lot of people buy extended. Here, you got it. I think they do it. I don't know. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, 2 years warranty built in. That's true.
Okay.
That's part of the
I've
membership.
I've never been a warranty person, especially for laptops. But no, you're right. That's a very good thing to have available. Moving on from this, this was on sale over at Newegg. It's nothing super extraordinary here. It's a single arm Visa mount. This apparently will hold anything between a 13 and 32-inch monitor. It's normally $50. It's on sale right now. Save $30 on Newegg. It's just $19.99, and this is one of the higher quality ones. It's got the gas spring in it, so it's not. Some of these monitor mounts can be a little rackety. This one is this one looks like it's a decent mount with this, so it's got good reviews. You can check that out over on Newegg. All right, moving on. Couple of other things that are on sale. This is an interesting little device. I found this. It's not really technology in the terms of it's like a device that does a whole lot, but it's a outlet extender. So you plug this into a dual outlet. So it plugs, or you don't have to plug it into a dual outlet, but it takes up the room of a dual outlet plug. And you get a couple of things. You get 5 surge protected outlets on it. So it's a surge protector built in. And then you also get 3 USB ports 2 USB Type A's and 1 USB Type C. So maybe for a plug in the living room or in the kitchen where you're charging a phone or something like that, this is a great way to do it. And they've got the plugs at different angles so that plugging in a thick power brick doesn't necessarily block all of the other outlets. This is normally like $25. It's on sale right now through Slick Deals. There's a coupon code. You can get it for $10.60. It's available in a couple of different colors, both white and black, and you can check that out over at Amazon. Now, Amnon, I think you need to purchase one of these and let us know. This is the Samsung JetBot Plus. This is a robot vacuum cleaner. It's automatically empties. It goes back to its base station and empties. It's got a 5-layer HEPA filter, intelligent power control. It'll do everything from hardwood floors to pretty thick carpet. It's got an app on your phone. It'll show you the laps that it ran. It'll show you a cleaning report. You can put certain areas in the house that it won't vacuum. This is normally $800, and you can get it on sale with an extra. It's $499 on Amazon, but there's an extra $120 off coupon, so you can get this thing for $379. So if you've got $400 just burning a hole in your pocket, you might want to check out the Samsung JetBot Plus. It uses the same. It's got LiDAR, LIDAR, which is the same sensors that autonomous vehicles use, and also that the iPhone uses for some of its stuff as well. So LiDAR is pretty good technology.
Yeah, but it doesn't do Windows, so never mind.
No, well, and it doesn't run Windows either, thankfully. And then finally, here on the first page of items. I thought this was a cool, interesting thing. I know a lot of folks have got the Blink system. I've got 2 of the Blink cameras. Managing your expectations, knowing what you're getting, they work relatively well. If you want a more in-depth system than just the Blink itself, especially for a garage, this is the Blink Outdoor 3rd Gen floodlight. So this comes with as you can see, 2 large LED floodlights on either side. It has a USB port that connects to the Blink camera, so you have a larger battery pack that comes with this. According to this, it's 700 lumens worth of motion-triggered high-quality LEDs. It comes with the camera as well. So if you can buy the mount by itself for like $60. But this is the floodlight and the camera so that you could put this on a garage, a backyard, still use your Blink camera, but also have a motion-activated floodlight that works alongside with the camera. And that is over at Amazon for $89. That's on sale over at Amazon. All right, moving on to page number 2 of the specials here this morning. I thought this was an interesting little deal here. Newegg is doing a couple of these combo kits. They've got a whole bunch of different ones. This one kind of caught my eye. This is the latest generation Intel Core i7. This is the 12700K, so it is overclockable. The K indicates that you can do that. It also comes with a really nice Asus motherboard, the Asus Prime Z690P. This is one of Asus's I wouldn't call it their top of the line motherboards, but it is very much above their entry level motherboards. And then it comes with a couple of memory sticks as well. Comes with 2 8-gig sticks of OLOY Blade RGB sticks that run at 5600 K for this. They're DDR5 sticks. Normally, this whole combo, if you bought all of these parts separately, you'd be spending about $830. But you can buy them as a kit together from Newegg. They'll all come together and you can get that for $686. You save about $140 on that. So if you were gonna buy some of these parts separate, you might want to look at this. And Newegg has got a bunch of combo deals right now. There's a whole bunch of stuff that they've got combo deals on. So check that out over at Newegg. Moving on, another Costco sale here. This is a cool monitor. I actually saw this in store a couple of weeks ago, and then I saw that it was on sale. This is an Acer monitor, and your initial impression might be, but Acer makes some pretty good stuff, especially their monitors. This is a 27-inch curved WQHD FreeSync gaming monitor. It boasts a resolution of 2560 by 1440. That's a 1440p monitor. The big star of the show here is that it has 144 hertz refresh rate. If you're running an AMD GPU, it supports FreeSync, which allows you to get rid of tearing and match the display rates. 4 milliseconds response time, and it comes with a DisplayPort cable built into it. So, or not built in, but it comes with the DisplayPort cable. It also has DVI and HDMI as well. No VGA available on this, so you'll have to convert it if you're trying to hook it to something older. And if you're trying to hook up VGA, you probably don't want to buy this anyway. This is normally $250, marginal sale, $50 off. You can pick it up for $200 or buy it online over at Costco. Caught this morning. This is another deal over at Newegg. This is just a very middle of the road NVMe SSD. If you're looking to maybe just get a little bit more boost out of an older computer that has an NVMe slot or a laptop that has an NVMe slot, all of these things are pretty much the same. You can get this 256 gig. It's a PCIe Gen 3 by 4X NVMe drive. It's normally $35. You can get it on sale with a promo code over at Newegg for $28. So you'll save a couple bucks on it, but not a bad deal at all for a 256 gig NVMe drive over at Newegg. And then finally, this caught me. I don't know. This was an interesting one. I added it here because I wanted to maybe have a discussion about it. RCA. Now, they've been in the smart TV market for some time. You don't typically see their TVs. This is running WebOS, which is their platform. Didn't they buy WebOS from HP?
LG, I think. No,
is LG WebOS?
Well, WebOS started, brace yourself, as a Palm. Remember Palm?
Yeah, Palm, which was HP.
Yeah, but it sold WebOS a long time ago.
Okay,
I think the only TVs using WebOS up until this ad that I've seen is LG. They've been using WebOS. It's not in theoretically. There's I mean, the OS is supposed to be great, but I don't know about any community of developers working for it. So,
yeah. So this is on sale. I don't know if I would replace my living room television with this, but this might be good for an office, maybe a garage or a bedroom TV. The price is pretty unbeatable. It's a 50-inch 4K 2160p, and it's got the smart TV built in. So if you just want to use it for Roku, or if you just want to use it for Plex or YouTube or Netflix or something simple, this is an all-in-one device, no streaming device needed. This is normally $400. It's on sale for $228 over at Walmart. I do not believe you can pick this up in store just by looking at it. I couldn't see that it was available at any of my local stores. That might change based on your area, but they do offer free shipping with it. So you can check that out over at Walmart. And that is specials for today.
Well, thank you, Nick.
And I do want to answer Alan's question. He said, what is the wattage of the USB? It's 2.4 amps it's 3 amps for the USB-C. So that's the The wattage doesn't matter. It's the amperage for USB-C. So it's a 3 amp charger for that. So it's 5 volts, obviously, and then 3 amps for charger. So it's a good quality. It's not a trickle charge for amperage.
Yeah, but it's not
a fast charger
either.
No, correct. Not a fast charger, but a traditional USB-C charger. It won't take 5.5 hours to charge your phone.
Yeah. All right. Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K voice on Skype.
Oh,
yeah.
Let me just mention one thing about this too, because I
absolutely.
forgot to mention about that outlet thing, that outlet box that we were talking about.
The multi-outlet, yeah.
The multi-outlet box. You cannot plug it into a GFI outlet. You cannot plug it into a GFI outlet.
So this means no kitchen.
No kitchen next to the sink, I guess. I've got a GFCI next to the sink.
What happens if you do?
You can't. The pins caught. There's a plastic thing on the back that will not allow it to hit a GFCI outlet.
Okay. Not only that, well, yeah, you can't put it on a GFCI, but I think the thing is, remember, it is drawing wattage, right?
Correct.
Because it's also a power supply for USB. So I think the problem with putting something like that on a GFCI circuit, you might be affecting the effectiveness of the GFCI circuit is going to be downgraded, basically. So that's why I think they make it a point of not.
Well, that's the problem. They don't make it a point. It's apparent, according to the reviews I read about it, because I was looking at them. There's fine print on the back of the device that says not for GFCI or GFI outlets, but it's nowhere in the description. So they want you to be the reviews want you to be aware of that.
Interesting. We have.
But no, I'm curious though, Gal, because you brought up something interesting. In your kitchen, are all of your outlets GFIs?
So you have one outlet that. Oh, I see. Because
it can't go into the outlet that has the GFI.
Yeah, because they use the middle screw.
Yeah.
So a GFCI. You only
Let
need
me rephrase.
one GFCI outlet in a circuit, and it affects all of the others. There'll be regular ones, but they are protected by that component.
So yeah, let me rephrase this. This can plug into a GFI outlet. It cannot plug into the main GFI outlet that has the reset and test button.
Right, because that's where the screw goes in.
It's not just the screw. Outlet, it's also the buttons that you reset.
Well, you could always trim. Well, you could always cut that off. Or
that's where the button is. So the screw goes exactly where the button is. So that's why you can't.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, we have this one that spins, and it's fine. Yeah. It's fine to be on a GFI because that's where I have it. Huh? No screw. No screw.
Right. So this one, you plug it in, but then you screw it. The reason you screw it is one, probably for better grounding, but two, because it's going to have so much weight on it, right? You don't want it hanging just by. Think about it. And every time a tough plug will go in
you
and
pull
out,
it out,
everything will go out.
Yeah,
so you don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Good info. Thanks, Nick.
Yep. Yeah, my pleasure.
Do you remember not last week, but a few weeks ago, we were talking about that guy that said that his plane was misbehaving, so he parachuted and it crashed. And
Was this the guy that was doing the YouTube video?
Yeah, the YouTube.
Yeah.
A few months ago, right?
Yeah, a few months
Yeah.
ago, before
So-
Spence left.
It says the Federal Aviation Administration has found that Trevor Jacob, a daredevil YouTuber who posted a video of himself last year parachuting out of a plane that he claimed had malfunctioned, purposely abandoned the aircraft and allowed it to crash into the Los Padres National Forest in Southern California. There was nothing was not functioning. It was fine. He
Yeah.
just did it for the fame and
he didn't
fortune.
get approval.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember because I was asking whether maybe he got approval and we just don't know about it.
Yeah.
And Spence said it was irresponsible, right? And it turns out the guy was irresponsible.
Yep.
And that's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah.
Gotta
Hopefully,
do it for the views, bro.
hopefully others will learn from it and not do it.
Well, I don't think first of all, there's not many people that have private planes. And secondly, there's not many people that have private planes that want to just crash them into the ground. So
Yeah.
I think we're probably pretty good. I don't think there's a huge viewer base there.
All right, now here is something that probably a lot of people, it will affect a lot of people. According to 9 to 5 Google, a recent bug in Google's Messages app on Android phones left the camera running in the background. A great way to both heat up your phone and run down the battery. The Google Messages app allows you to easily take a photo directly from the app and attach it to chat message. According to the article in 9 to 5 Google, the camera app would occasionally keep running even when you did not have it on screen. I use Messages. I mean they don't say what to do. I didn't see an update, but if you're using Messages and you use it a lot and your phone is kind of hot or too warm, that may be the thing. And it also eats your battery. So be aware. I don't know why I started using Messages instead of the one that's built in, but there must have been a reason.
Most of the Android OSs default to the new Messages by Android. By the way, the whole idea of the Google Messages, it's supposed to be like an iMessage on the iOS. It also has the ability of basically IP connecting between the endpoints. So it's like it's SMS, but it's also a very similar solution to WhatsApp and stuff like that, right? But it's their attempt of creating an ecosystem of messengers, SMS messengers on the Android platform. Surprisingly enough, I don't use Messages, even though I use an Android, because I use Google Voice, and they're not compatible. They don't work. Two separate Google platforms that somehow Google Voice never gets the love. And while it works terrifically on its own, it has zero integration with anything that comes out of Google. So yeah, there's that. By the way, speaking of Google, I just thought of this because we talked about my problem with them right now. Basically, next month they're gonna switch my account from a free account to a paid account, and I have all my email there. And I was struggling with the way of what I'm going to do. There's a lot of purchases assigned with some of the accounts there, and stuff like that. So they have updated that they are going to offer a no cost option that will take away centralized mail. The no more like enterprise control type for the account. So associating my domain name with the email account will no longer be an option, but uh, but everything else in the account will be preserved, so I won't lose any value that has already been put there.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually wish that they would have allowed some sort of migration to the regular Google accounts. That would have been better, but it seems that they're not going through that path. So no offloading of out of that service, but the accounts themselves they could still live on. But I still need to find a solution for my mail addressing, which I have. I'm purchasing email storage at deltafirst.net, and that's where I'm going to route my email for now. I am experimenting with self-hosting my email server, my own email server. So it'll be interesting to compare what type of management I need around it or not. But setting it up with Delta Force was so easy. I'm thinking maybe I can also do it on my end. So
You should
we'll
be
see.
able to.
Yeah. I mean, I've always shied away from it, thinking there's going to be too much trouble. But I'm thinking it's worth the effort to try that. So once I get my system stabilized, I will still probably purchase some backup mail solution, just because there are going to be times I'm not 99.99% uptime service, right? So uh, I'll
Well,
just
neither is
make sure
Delta
that I
Force, so
have
be
a
aware.
backup. What's that? I missed that. What?
I said no, neither is Delta Force.
Well,
That was a joke,
I
of
mean,
course. That was a joke.
yeah, but the average will be good enough.
The average, I've never had it. Amnon, how long did I have my email with you? 3, 4 years?
Longer than that.
Yeah, but I never had a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
Remember the ads? I got to go back and find them. Do you remember the ad we used to run? We ran a Delta Force ad on my show. And Sean
oh
voiced it.
yeah.
You remember that? I need to go back and find that.
That's
I wonder
that's
where
the
that
one
is.
that Sean.
Sean voiced it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
wonder if I have that.
Yeah.
well, I can tell you there's a new service by Delta Force.
IMAP.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have not only IMAP, you can have a large. You can buy storage for email. So
Lenovo did something unbelievable. I mean, 100 gig is $10, and it's all NVMe's.
Sweet.
That's amazing. Yeah. While Nick is looking, and
Yeah, I don't think I have it on this
Yeah.
computer.
I probably have it on my office computer. But anyway, this is something that I'm not into this, so I don't understand the impact of it. But it says Microsoft Windows 10, and didn't we say the Windows 11 was the same kind of like Windows 10 with different clothes on? So to speak.
Kind of.
It says Microsoft
no,
Windows 10. Huh?
there's some major architecture changes in the kernel.
Okay, but listen to this. Microsoft Windows 10 operating system already disables by default SMB version 1, the server
Right.
message block, the 30-year-old file sharing protocol. Now the company is doing the same with Windows 11 Home Dev Channel test builds. Does that mean that they started Windows 11 with it, even though Windows 10 already had it disabled for a long time? I remember.
Home build.
Well,
It could be that on homes they left SMB1 enabled. That
I
would
don't know.
actually make sense. More compatibility with older devices.
So it says they announced it on April 19th that SMB1 is considered outdated and not secure. However, some users with very old equipment may be in for a surprise if their Windows 11 laptops can't connect to an old network hard drive. As officials said in a blog post about the SMB1 phased out plan, there is no edition of Windows 11 Insider that has any part of SMB1 enabled by default anymore. At the next major release of Windows 11, that would be the default behavior as well.
Yeah, and there'll be a registry fix probably to enable it.
Like
Not as if
always,
they're yanking out the logic.
well, like always, this doesn't affect in-place upgrades of machines where you were already using SMB1. SMB1 is not gone here. An admin can still intentionally reinstall it. So,
Look, it should be gone. It's fine. Good news. Just know about it. That's all. And figure out how to update your whatever you're using with SMB1, right?
yeah, see if there are updates. I mean, not everything would have an update.
No. I mean, sometimes you need to buy something new, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Right.
like it's time to update.
So, talking about Sean, and Sean now works for SpaceX.
Mhm.
Delta chief executive has revealed in an interview that the airline held talks with SpaceX and conducted exploratory tests of Starlink's internet technology for its planes. So they are thinking about using Starlinks in the planes. According to the war,
Interesting.
what?
It's interesting because one of the things Starlink isn't is a mobile system.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're flying up there and you're moving from one to the other, then it is becoming. It's not.
No, yeah, it's that. that's
Oh,
why it's
are you talking
interesting,
about
right?
the equipment on your side? Yeah.
The equipment, mobile homes, and stuff like that. They're starting with planes, not with mobile homes. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
According to the Wall Street Journal, he declined to divulge specifics about the test, but SpaceX executive Jonathan Hoffler talked about the company's discussion with several airlines back in mid-2021. He said that back then that the company was developing a product for aviation and that it's already done some demonstrations for interested parties. SpaceX chief Elon Musk tweeted in the same period last year that Starlink antennas for planes would have to be certified for each aircraft type first. I don't think they're going to put a dish on the outside of the cockpit. That's not the way it works. He added that the company is focusing on dishes for 737 and A320s planes because they serve the most number of people. He reiterated that SpaceX's quest to put Starlink on planes at the Satellite 2022 conference last month, saying that the company believes connectivity on airplanes is something that's ripe for the overhaul. He added, he said SpaceX is developing a service that would allow every single passenger on a plane to stream content like they're able to do at their home. That's how much does it cost? I mean, I don't fly anymore. How much does it cost now to have Wi-Fi on a plane?
Depends.
Expensive.
I mean, roughly what? I mean, are we talking?
Well, if you have T-Mobile, it's for Verizon. It's free on some airlines.
Well, only for texting.
No.
Only for basic communication. You can't do streaming for free.
Oh, I don't know about streaming. If you fly, I know if you fly Delta and you have T-Mobile, you put in your phone number, you get free data for the flight.
So maybe they're just talking about Data for texting? I don't know.
No, I mean I was able to use Facebook and stuff
Oh.
like that. I didn't try streaming anything, but if not, it's maybe $25 depending on the flight.
Wow, that's a lot. I mean, I wonder
Well,
how
it
much.
depends. If you've got a cross country flight, it's not. If you're flying for an hour, yeah, it's a huge waste.
What are you
of money.
talking about? You're paying $60 a month for home connection.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a lot. Don't sell it down. It's a lot.
I don't think if you're doing a cross country flight for 6 hours during the middle of the day and you need to work, $25 is not a lot.
No, if you need to work, it's not. No, I agree with Nick.
Covers it, yeah, but
Yeah, but I mean, for me, I bought Wi-Fi for cross country flights before. Like when we went out to Seattle a couple of times, I bit the bullet and bought the Wi-Fi. And yeah, I mean, is it a little expensive? Sure. But for a 6-hour flight, I wanted to have it. Now for, the hour flight, the hour and a half flight between here and DC, it doesn't make sense.
But that's the thing, right? You pay anything north of $5, right? Then, I mean, even $5 when you're comparing it to any data plan that you have on a phone, right? This is for a limited time, a few hours, right? It's not a subscription. It's not something that give you carte blanche. It's very limited, and you're paying that, right, while in transit. I mean, comparing that to not using Wi-Fi for a few hours, it is expensive. It doesn't matter how you wrap around it. And the reason it's expensive is because they can. Because conceptually, right, it is this expensive ordeal, the infrastructure complex, etc. But when you think about it, this plane has 60 seats, right? Or 120 or 300 seats. And they are expecting to basically cover the entire setup they did in what? In 2 to 3 flights. That's why I'm saying it's expensive. If they drop the value of the cost of it, right, then the value grows. But there's probably bandwidth restrictions, and that's
Correct.
what Starlink is going to try to offer. One thing I will find interesting, they currently invest a ton in internal streaming solutions, right? They have their own equivalent of a Plex server inside the plane, feeding all of the screens individually. I wonder if a solution like Starlink, which we know on the ground makes a lot of sense financially, right? Is if a solution like Starlink will give them an option of doing away with the internal system and managing everything from headquarters, for example. That'll be an interesting switch, because the cost effectiveness change here is huge, right? Instead of managing these local systems and needing to deal with each system individually, you have this centralized. You'll have an ability to control everything centralized with high bandwidth. That is a major game changer. All you need locally is some caching servers, and that's it. Not anything more than that.
We'll wait and see.
It's an interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting.
I think at this point, I would think that business people are the ones that really need to have bandwidth on flights, and even business people these days. It's more. I mean, you're flying, like Nick says, 6 hours. You have a Zoom meeting somewhere. You want to be on it.
I don't know if you're doing a Zoom meeting on a flight.
Well,
yeah, the noise and the etiquette of speaking while other people are there, but you are going to definitely want to be connected. By the way, I think the market is a lot huger for TikTok users than business users, and I think that's what they want.
Well, yeah,
No,
and I mean, I'll give you
seriously.
my example. When I fly out to either Vegas or Seattle, out to the West Coast, you're talking about at least a 4.5 hour flight, maybe 5 or 6, depending on where exactly you're going and where I'm flying from. Um, I just want to have internet. 5 or 6 hours, depending on the time of day. If it's an overnight, if it's a red eye, then I won't buy it. But if it's a midday flight, I it, it's a convenience thing. You want to buy it.
And they know
They're
it.
not holding a
to be
they're not
treated.
holding a gun to your head and telling you to
Right.
buy it, but it's like, all right, it's the middle of the day. I want to see what's going on. I want to putz around on social media or download or do whatever. So you pay for it. And I agree with you, Gal. I think that's way more of the user base than the business. Because if you're a business user, they offer subscriptions. Like I know GoGo's got it's like $40 or $50 a month, and it's unlimited. It's the Wi-Fi on flights. It's a monthly subscription service.
All right. You had a Lenovo on the special. Lenovo has released security updates for more than 100 laptop models to fix critical vulnerabilities that make it possible for advanced hackers to surreptitiously install malicious software that can be next to impossible to remove or, in some cases, to detect. 3 vulnerabilities affecting more than 1 million laptops can give hackers the ability to modify a computer's UEFI firmware interface. And they explain what the UEFI is the first piece of software to run when virtually any modern machine is turned on. It's the initial link in the security chain. Because the UEFI resides in a flash chip on the motherboard, infections are difficult to detect and even harder to remove. They're getting better and better at these things, but I mean, that's interesting that Lenovo has that and not HP or, I mean, we don't know. Maybe HP has it too. But that means that the Chinese who own Lenovo,
Well, don't this has to do with only like physical access to the machine
yeah.
exploits. Okay. Yeah. Don't let's not be
Okay, yeah,
alarmist.
you're right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see what you mean.
This is physical access only. Okay.
To install it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. Okay.
And these are I mean, as any other as most of any other exploit, these are just
the problem is
debugs.
the main problem that I see here is that it's hard to detect, and they said that sometimes you can't remove it. So I don't know. We'll see. And Nick, it's your time
up?
now.
Why?
For nearly 2 years, netting a PS5, Xbox Series X, or AMD Radeon and NVIDIA RTX graphics card without paying a fortune has been a matter of luck or a lot of skill. At its peak, scalpers were successfully charging double or even triple MSRP for a modern GPU, but it's looking like the great GPU shortage is nearly over.
Yep.
In January, sites including Tom's Hardware reported that prices were finally beginning to drop, and drop they did. They are now dropped an average of 30% in the 3 months since. On eBay, the most popular graphics cards are only commanding a street price of 200 to 300 over MSRP. But we need to add here that there's a lot of fakes out there, right?
There's some.
There's some. I wouldn't say a lot.
Okay. And while that might still seem like a lot, some have fallen further. Used NVIDIA RTX 3080 Ti or AMD RX 6900 XT are currently fetching less than their original asking price, a sure sign that sanity is returning to the marketplace.
But let's be clear.
Yeah.
It just started. The prices are still high. And it's going to take probably a year to go back to MSRP.
Well, you need to check, but I know that
I think I mentioned this. I don't know if I mentioned it on this show or on Infection. Yeah, GPUs are pretty readily available now. I mean, if you go to Amazon or Newegg or Best Buy's website, you can pretty much find one. I mean, they sell out, but it's not immediate like it was.
Mhm.
And I've had a couple that have come in front of me, and I've just haven't been gaming enough to justify pulling the $500 or $600 trigger on one. I will at some point, but not yet.
Well, I thought that's what you were waiting for, something like this.
I was, and 2 years ago I was doing a whole lot more gaming wise, and I was, but as of right now I'm not, and there's no point of me buying a card now for stuff that I might play in the future. There'll be a new card out, and I can either buy the new card when it's available or buy the older card for cheaper. So as of right now, I'm pretty content.
All right. Here is something else about Windows 11. A new survey claims Windows 11 adoption is so low, it's actually less popular than the 20-year-old Windows XP. This is from PC Magazine. The survey comes from an IT management provider called Lansweeper. Lansweeper. Through its own
Minesweeper.
Lansweeper. Oh.
I'm kidding. The game never play Minesweeper.
Lawn sweeper. Mine. Through its own software products, the company scanned 10 million Windows devices this month to determine which OS they were using. The result found that only 1.44% of the devices had Windows 11 installed, which is lower than the 1.71% for Windows XP. In contrast, Windows 10 maintains a dominant share at 80.34%. Although Windows 11 adoption is low at 1.44, the number actually went up almost 3 times for 0.52 back in January. It's also important to note that other surveys they found much higher Windows 11 adoption numbers. Last month, the app advertising platform AdDuplex found Windows 11 usage was at 19.4%. So all this numbers and numbers. Meanwhile, the Steam hardware survey from Valve estimates Windows 11 usage has reached 16%. The thing is this, I mean, I don't know how this is done. How do you scan machines out there to know what operating system they're using?
Oh, they're based on gathering analytics, but I call bullshit, and I'll explain. So
Okay.
I think the adoption of Windows 11, I don't think we have. Do we have a year already? No, right? We're less than a year in with Windows 11, and so if that's the case, then we'll see business adoption spike in about a year and a half, 2 years into the new OS, because business adoption is always slow. It has like tons of testing, and there's compatibility requirements with old software and stuff like that. So it takes longer to see businesses adopt a new OS like this. And as we go forward, the chunks of adoption, right, they're just going to be jumps, like huge jumps, because large businesses are going to start taking in Windows 11 after all of the feedback and all of the back and forth with Microsoft and all of that. So it's just the first period of time. And is it less? I doubt that it's, first of all, I doubt that it's more than Windows XP, because even if you compare the adoption of Windows XP, right? and the progress, and you compare it to Windows 11, I'm guessing you'll see Windows 11 is just a lot more widespread with the automatic updates from Windows 10 and all of that.
There's
I mean,
there's one other problem, Gal. Hardware. A lot of
it's
people.
not that big of a problem.
What do you mean? My machine here, 8th generation i7. No, it's not. It cannot take Windows 11. It says it
What are you
doesn't.
talking about? An 8th generation can take it. It has the built-in everything.
Every time I go to and I look at updates, it
Yeah.
says this machine did not pass the
It
blah blah
won't do
blah
it
blah. blah.
automatically if you download the media
Well,
creator. It'll
Okay,
install
so you
without
see,
issues.
okay, so that's my point here. There
Yeah,
may
but
have.
that wasn't any different to any of the other OSs in the past.
Oh, I don't.
You had to create the media with the media creation tool, boot through USB, and it'll upgrade.
Windows 7 to Windows 10 was seamless.
On some of them was smooth, like with Windows 11, right? So it's like the rollout. I don't see anything different in the process, in the approach. Some hardware is outdated, so it won't do it automatically. But in terms of ability to support, your system has everything that you need. There are just very few, very old hardware platforms where something is missing completely, and it says, even if you boot up from a USB and try to install, it'll tell you, look, we can't do it on this computer. Which, by the way, I'm thinking might change. Like they wanted to focus on the newer platforms first, and that's where we're seeing it. But I don't think it's a slower. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers. I'm looking at that. The whole blog post on that Landsweeper site just reads like, "Hey, it's time to update to Windows 11 to protect yourself." So the numbers, they don't add up to anything alarming or anything out of the ordinary. Business adoption is low at the beginning. Consumer is higher. They're talking about Steam saying 16%, right?
Yeah.
So think about it. The consumers running Steam, that means anywhere between children, right, to adults who are gaming, 16% adoption. In what, in a year? And you're talking about worldwide platforms, right? Windows is the most widespread platform for gaming. I don't see a problem. I don't see any numbers staggering here.
Okay. Be like that.
I'll be like
Fine.
that.
Fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just never mind. All right. Here's something else. They were talking about how Windows 11 is going to be able to run Android apps, or Microsoft said so. Well, Windows Toolbox, a popular Windows 11 script used to add the Google Play Store to the Android subsystem, is covertly infecting user systems with malicious scripts, Chrome extensions, and other malware. When Microsoft announced the introduction of a feature that allows users to run Android apps on Windows, the news excited many users. However, when the feature was eventually released, excitement quickly turned to disappointment as users realized that it didn't support Google Play. So now to find even that it's infecting, this is amazing.
Can't believe this has happened.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I wonder. They say it's hosted on GitHub. I'm gonna see if there's. I don't see it anymore. Yeah.
Meaning,
So if they took it down, then it's hard to track. I um, wonder this whole toolbox thing. First of all, GitHub is a Microsoft.
yeah, yeah.
Trying to understand the news that popular Windows tokens used to add the Google Play Store to Android is infecting. There's a screenshot under observation, but I can't see. I wonder who took it down, right? Because it could be that this is an open source. Anything on GitHub
Mhm.
is open source that is publicly available. Is open source, um, and I wonder if it was a pull request and if it came from the author of the like whoever is maintaining the repository, or who's uh, or if it was just somebody else who pushed malicious code into something that was popular. That's what I'm interested in, but I can't find it because the repo doesn't seem to exist anymore. So somebody took it, either made it private, or we won't know until some verdict of analysis comes into play. Interesting. There's
Oh,
some obfuscation code in it, and yeah, but it is a sad state of affair. I agree.
all right. Um, Employees at an Apple store in Atlanta filed a petition on Wednesday to hold a union election. If successful, the workers could form the first union at an Apple retail store in the United States. I was just this morning, I was drinking my coffee watching, what's his name? That comedian. Anyway, that was talking about union because the kids didn't want to do work and said, no, we want more money. And it was the whole thing. Interesting. Another interesting story is people using self-driving cars will be allowed to watch television on built-in screens under proposed update to the highway code. The changes will say the drivers must be ready to take back control of vehicle when prompted. The first use of self-driving technology is likely to be when traveling at slow speeds on motorways, such as a congested traffic. However, using mobile phones while driving will remain illegal. No self-driving cars are currently allowed on UK roads, but the first vehicles capable of driving themselves could be ready for for use later this year. The planned changes to the code are expected to come over the summer. The updates proposed following public consultation were described as an interim measure to support the early adoption of the technology, and a full regulatory framework is planned to be implemented by 2025. I was reading this and I remember somebody was telling me a story about when car radios were added to cars and how it created havoc on the roads because people were listening to the radio. Here now, you can watch TV.
Yeah, but somebody else is driving for you, man.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. Yeah,
I don't actually understand why you trust human beings more than a
machine.
very efficient robot.
Well, a very efficient robot takes some time to develop, and I don't know that they're very efficient yet.
So you know what the statistics are. You know how they measure the statistics.
How? No.
This is actually interesting. So the way they measure the statistics is by accumulation of miles driven without human interaction,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, and then comparing that to statistics of crashes. Now, the thing is, when you take an AI, you can accumulate the knowledge from all of the cars it's running on. So the machine you are working on, like let's say a Tesla, self-driving Tesla, which is the most famous one, it has the history, right? It is based on the experience
And
of all previous Teslas
right,
that have been driven and all of the data that has been collected.
right.
So
But you forget one big piece of this formula. If you go on a
and that
busy highway, you have
yeah,
10,000 regular cars and 3 Teslas.
that is correct. That is correct. And that is where the data starts to be interesting.
Well,
So the data shows that the moment you have 5%, right? It's still a lot, but the moment you have 5% of good, effective drivers,
yeah.
right? And the rest are just completely random, then traffic pattern starts to align with expected behavior. So all you need to do, right, is you need to get enough cars on the road that are going to be a lot more obedient,
Okay.
and those are the robots, right?
Right. Okay. But
Uh,
the key word you
and you're
said
gonna
here.
get improved, and you're gonna get improved traffic,
Yeah.
and a lot safer traffic, right? So
Hopefully.
that's goal number one. Now, you're talking about effectiveness, right? How can me, a person which can only teach myself, I cannot train, my experience does not train any other human being.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Well,
On on and I've been driving since I was about 19, 20, right? I'm 45, so I have 25, let's say 25 years of experience on the road, right?
mm-hmm.
But of a single person.
Yeah.
The AI driving these self driving cars, right, has been in development for the past 10 years, and in the past 10 years it has driven a few tens of thousand cars. You see the analogy I'm talking about here?
No.
The amount of mileage that AI made
Yeah.
is enormous compared to what a single human being can have. The amount of experience that AI has collected is enormous compared to what a single human being has. So now comes the only difference is the psychology of trusting a machine to keep you safe. And that will take its own time, right?
Well, that's the
But
point, that it's going to take time. It's going to a lot more time to get it
I think you'll be
trained.
surprised. It's already trained. That's
No,
what
no,
I'm
no, no,
saying.
no. To get it trained to make decisions that, oh, we didn't think about that. Oh, wow, we had a crash
But
because
that's what
of,
I'm saying.
yeah.
Everything that you cannot think about, that AI has already seen, and there's already a routine that's there. There
We'll wait.
outliers that it doesn't include, of course. But I'm saying it's not necessarily that the human being will be more effective there.
We'll have to wait and see. I hope
I'll
we'll
tell
be
you
here.
when the change will be the most significant, and I'm pretty sure that will get there. When your insurance company allows you to pay a lesser premium if you have
Oh,
self-driving, like if you're
uh,
activating self-driving assistant for more than 20% of the month, yeah, when they do that, that is when you know this is the safest thing in the world, because they are shelling money out of their pockets, right? In case of accidents, in case you are going to sue, and if you're using a self-driving car, they're going to allow you to pay less. It's because you're safer there, and it will not cost them more. So wait for that. That'll be the tipping point.
All right. That's fine. There's something to look forward to.
I can tell you, regardless of self-driving cars, right? My car isn't self-driving, but it does have adaptive cruise control.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that adaptive cruise control, the rental I got in Israel was with an adaptive cruise control. That is so efficient, right? Whether you're driving fast or whether you're driving in slow traffic, like a traffic jam. It makes driving so much more safer, so much more convenient. And if I lose attention for a second, I know that the car is taking charge of something, right? So I'm less on edge while the car is in control. Because if the car in front of me slows down, right, my car won't get even close to it to be in a dangerous situation. That is and that most of the systems already do, right? Now you add shifting lanes, right, and navigating completely on its own. That is not the hard part, right? The hard part is keeping you alive and safe, and it already knows how to do that. So I can see that happening. Definitely can see that happening.
Oh, it will happen.
I can see that happening sooner than later.
That's where I don't know. But I agree with you. It will happen.
I mean, think about it.
We'll see.
Our computers. We were talking about the guy jumping out the plane.
Gal, I agree with you.
It's there. It's here.
All right. It's that time again. Anything else we need to add? Did Nick fall asleep?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
He has nothing to say about self-driving cars. That's all.
Huh?
Nope. Don't follow it at all. Don't really, as of right now, don't really have any interest one way or the other.
All right. Well.
So wait. So you don't want the one they're sending Amnon for us to test?
No, I honest to God could care. I drive a car from 2009. It's got no smart, no nothing. The steering wheel doesn't even have any controls. I'm more than content with how I am.
Well, the smarts is on your shoulders.
Exactly. I'm so intelligent. I don't need a smart car. That's a very good point. Thank you.
All right. Well, in that case, let's end the show for today. Thanks, Nick. And thank you, Gal. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Heidi and Dana, Dina, Arlington, Micha, Eleanor, Farid. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Again, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM. And you can tell your Echo device to just play 980 The Wave anywhere in the world. Or you can go to nickcraig.com and listen to past recordings. And Tuesday, 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast on Twitch. Survival game podcast with gaming news and information. 7 p.m., twitch.tv. See you next week. Bye, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.